Deion Sanders, of course, is in the Hall of Fame. He had this to say about, he was talking in, I think his office, it wasn't the Barstool office, his office, about people who are now being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame ain't the Hall of Fame no more. I love it. I respect it. I admire it. I think all the guys who are inducted definitely are deserving. But it needs to be a different color jacket. My jacket got to be a different color. It need to be starting 11. It need to be upper room. My head don't belong with some of these other heads that's in the Hall of Fame. Put my head, what they call them, bust? Well, I call it the head. Bust. Put my head. Do that. Put my head where my head supposed to be. My head don't supposed to be about him. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. I'm saying what y'all thinking, and a lot of y'all Hall of Famers are thinking the same thing. This thing is becoming a free fall now, man. If you play good, no, it ain't good. It's people that change the game. That's what the Hall of Fame is.
Okay, there's a couple parts to it. First, he's so full of crap at the start that it's really hard to not point out that he's full of crap at the start. All the guys that are in are great. Okay, wait, you basically did the no disrespect, and then you showed an incredible amount of disrespect. His points are accurate. We've all known this, right? You can't compare Deion Sanders as an all-time great. Like, literally, I'm trying to think who else you would even put in his class as a cover corner and a return man. He was a remarkable player. He's, for my money, he's the best at what he did. I would agree with him. That level is above the level of, heck, you even look at this year. Leroy Butler, great player, great guy. But Hall of Fame? Like, is Leroy Butler in the Ronnie Lott? No. Ed Reed? No. Great player. But Tony Baselli is a hard one because he was absolutely the best left tackle in the business, and then he never played for the Texans because he got hurt. Dick Vermeil, I don't think anybody would argue with. Sam Mills, Richard Seymour, Bryant Young. Yeah, like, look, he has, and this is not the only class, he has a legitimate argument. I just don't know if, I don't think he should be the one making that argument, and I think that, it's not a great look considering what he started by saying. Like, take a listen, go replay me his first 2 or 3 sentences here.
The Hall of Fame ain't the Hall of Fame no more. I love it, I respect it, I admire it. I think all the guys who are inducted definitely are deserving.
Wait, he just said, hold on. You just said all the guys who are deserving, but they're not really deserving. Again, he's not wrong. You can't have different levels. Hall of Fame should be the absolute best. And he's not wrong that a lot of guys have gotten in because they played a long time, because they were really, really good for a long time. Again, I'm not attacking Deion because I didn't think he's better than 95% of the people in the Hall of Fame, or that his statement is wrong. It's one, you just said everybody's deserving who's in, so you're trying to take this hard stance, but you're not actually willing to say it. Say it to my face. Name some names of guys who don't belong, which he's doing by not, but even though he's not naming them. And then you can't be the guy that says that. Byron, what do you think? Am I off? Is Deion off?
Sorry for the squeaking chair. He is. I think that he is correct. I have no problem with him saying that. I side with him in this, and there has been a change when you look at how the writers have. There hasn't been a class in the last decade that has left an open spot. They have always put 5 players in. They've put a contributor in. They've put a senior. There are no open spots, and there have not been. They feel that for some reason everybody who is a finalist is Hall of Fame worthy, and they're going to fill every single spot. And that wasn't the case 20 years ago. And I'm looking back, and for example, in the year 2000, there were only 4 players enshrined, and it
Give me
was
the players.
Howie Long, Ronnie Lott,
Hall of Famer,
Joe Montana, and Dave Wilcox, who played in the 60s and 70s.
Okay, so Dave Wilcox would be the one. Like, was he a dominant, like, incredible player?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but
me neither. Okay,
yeah, there were only 4 guys. 2002, only 4 guys: Dave Casper, Dan Hampton, Jim Kelly, John Stallworth. 2004, Bob Brown, Carl Eller, John Elway, Barry Sanders. And
Carl Eller got in?
Yes, 15 years in the NFL, 133 sacks in his career. Okay. I wouldn't be able. I honestly just have it in front of me.
No, I know. It's okay. I was like, damn, that was a really good recall of you, Buyer. Could have played that one off.
Purple People Eaters.
Yeah,
but yeah, 1992, they had 3 guys in. I'm looking at the list: Len Barney, John Mackey, John Riggins. So now you go to 2022. Name brand wise, it's a pretty blah class, because only 2 offensive guys, one of which was an offensive lineman. But I think that's part of it. But they've always now enshrined 7 or 8 guys, where the Baseball Hall of Fame has no problem with their guy saying, in this year, no one reached the threshold for enshrinement into Cooperstown. We'll honor the broadcaster and a senior committee, but guess what? No one got in. Like, they have no problem with it. The NFL, over the last decade, has just filled every possible spot with people. So that's why I agree with Deion.
Here's the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame class. Swin Cash, Larry Costello, Hugh Evans, Manu Ginobili, Tim Hardaway, Del Harris, Lou Hudson, Bob Huggins, George Karl, Radove Korach, Teresa Schenk, Gerrans, Maureen Stanley, and Lindsay Whalen. Like, that's a wonk. That is a, like, the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame has completely gone to that. Like, really? I think Manu is absolutely a Hall of Famer. I love Tim Hardaway's game. I got a hard time putting him in the Hall of Fame. I just do.
Like, where's the exclusivity with that,
why is Del Harris in the Hall of Fame?
What makes him a Hall of Famer now? Del Harris is the guy who couldn't win with Kobe and Shaq, right? Explain to me why Del... And again, I've heard Del Harris nothing but a complete and total gentleman. Complete gentleman. Yes, Ramos.
No, I was just... Jason was trying to get in there and tell you about... Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
I'm just wondering where the exclusivity is. And I mean, the Naismith thing, that's a joke. But I don't know... I come out on the other side of this, Doug. I love that Deion said it, because it takes a guy like Deion to say it. Like, he is a guy who's like, I played my entire career. I took a lot of pride in being the best that ever played, and I'm sharing a room with Larry Eller, or whatever the guy that Carl Eller. I love that.
Larry Eller, was he the guy who tried to steal the governorship in California, right?
Yeah, Larry Elder, a former talk show host. Yeah.
Larry Elder.
Yeah. So, but no, I love that he said it, and I love that it comes from a guy like him. And I just don't understand what the thinking is behind allowing so many. Like, why do people need to be inclusive when it comes to something that should be exclusive? In other words.
Because that's who we are.
Yeah, it's our society. That's what kind of pisses me off. So I'm glad he said it. And every single year,
the problem is, how do you dial it back, and where do you start?
Right. I'll tell you another problem with it is what happens on NFL enshrinement weekend. Fans fill the stadium to watch their player get enshrined.
Sure.
There was a time when the Hall of Fame ceremony for the Pro Football Hall of Fame occurred on the front steps of the Hall of Fame. Now they put it in a stadium. Now you bring in thousands of fans, because guess what? Their player got enshrined. So in no way are they going to only have 2 players be enshrined, say from the Lions and the Falcons, because guess what? Let's enshrine a Steeler. Then the Steeler fans will come. Let's enshrine a Brown, and then the Browns fans will drive down. Let's enshrine a Patriot, and the Patriot fans will get here. It's almost been like a way of like, as well. Like, you bring in all these different players because you need to make it a tourism thing for the city. I mean, they have all these fans come to town. The Cooperstown one is done on a stage that looks like they tore down and people are sitting on a hill. And it just seems so much more commercial with the Pro Football Hall of Fame and making it the weekend that it is and bringing people in town. And I guess maybe they feel if your team isn't representative, people wouldn't show up to it.
Which is I believe it's a false narrative, right? If a guy's really a Hall of Famer, he can fill that stadium. That should be the way you look at it, right?
Yes, yep.
That should be the way you look at it. But here's the problem. The problem with it is, and you nailed it, Beyer, is the commercialization. Once it becomes about the money and not about the honor, then that's when you've sold your soul, right? It's what's happened in college athletics. It's become about the money. It's only become about the money. That's why the conferences all kind of go away. Like, look, I have this in AAU basketball. I don't run my program to make money. I don't. I don't want to come out of pocket for things. I want to come out of pocket as little as possible, but I'm really losing money because of all the time spent doing it. If you do it to make money, you're going to have to acquiesce and have some kids play on teams that they don't belong on or play minutes they have not earned. And that's the truth everywhere. And so I think we all have our answer. They did it for what they think is the most money. I'd agree with Dan Beyer, which is like, if you make it exclusive, if you make it only the best of the best, even if it's only one guy in a year, or you have years where you don't have it. And on those years, you can bring back some of the guys that are already in. But the problem is that ship has sailed based upon some of these classes. Yes, John Ramos.
So I didn't see the actual ceremony, but I caught the post-ceremony. And they spoke with an NFL writer on the NFL Network. And he was a guy who was in to promote Tony Boselli. He's one of the guys. I think Boselli even thanked him in his speech. And he said, hey, if Boselli didn't get in this year, I don't think you'd ever get in. And the reason why he said that, he said something to the fact, like, I guess next year, like, there's Peyton Manning, and there's all these, like, really, like, high-profile guys. And I always thought, if you're going to get into the Hall of Fame, why do you need a year where other guys don't, like... You're either in the Hall of Fame.
You're in the Hall of Fame or not Hall of Fame.
Or you're not. I don't say, like, that made no sense to me when he said that. I'm like, so this is like a good year?
I'm going to give you one that's going to stun you.
Okay.
So Carl Eller, by the way, was a 5-time first-team All-Pro. Okay, NFL Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time second-team All-Pro. So you're the best at your job at what you do in the NFL. You mentioned Purple People Leaders. That's a Hall of Famer, right? It's the guys that are like, for a long period of time, they're just good. The Hall of Good, right? And I think it's, how many years have we talked about running backs and whether or not they should get in? How about this one? How many times do you think Reggie Miller, and I know this is basketball versus football, I understand, we can go to the football. How many times do you think Reggie Miller was a first or second team All-Pro?
3 times.
First or second team. Okay. How about you there, Beyer, without looking up?
I actually looked it up looked something similar up years ago. So I would just say, for the sake of the argument, once.
Okay. How about you there?
I'll split him twice.
Okay. He was never a first or second team All-Pro.
Wow.
He was third team All-Pro 3 times.
He was a 3-time All-Star or 6-time All-Star? What was it?
5-time All-Star.
5-time, yeah. Somewhere in that, yeah. That's what I looked up. I thought he would be like a 12-time All-Star, and was surprised when it was only 5.
And look, again, I'm not sitting here defaming Reggie Miller. He had a great career, but Reggie Miller's not he's not one of the 75 greatest players of all time, right? He's just not. He's on the 75th anniversary team, and he was never first or second team All-Pro. That doesn't make any sense. How can you be one of the 75 greatest players in 75 years when you weren't one of the 10 best players in the NBA at any time in your career? How does that work? So you use that, like, again, go through this year or go through the last couple years in the NFL. We do the same thing. If you're not a first team All-Pro, like, I can't, it's really hard for me to say you're a Hall of Famer. And again, I'm not defaming Deion Sanders. He's right. My problem is with Deion that, like, he does the whole everybody's deserving, but they're not really deserving. He didn't have to do the BS argument at the start. He could have just said, like, man, I have nothing but love for all these guys, but in terms of deserving, the bar has been lowered. And I don't think anyone would disagree with him. Or you let somebody else say it. Let somebody else say, like, oh, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? Dick Vermeil, I think you'd absolutely put in because of his success with the Eagles, his success with the Rams, the greatest show on turf, like is the architect of that. I don't think anybody would find, and I thought Baselli was, and you guys tell me, I haven't looked up, how many times was Baselli was the best left tackle in football before he got hurt. The problem is that his career was dramatically shortened by when he got hurt. But he was a 3-time first-team All-Pro. So for 3 straight years, enough people thought, enough writers who covered the league thought he was the best in the business. I'm okay with that. One gets in. The rest of them don't think they can pass the sniff test.
Yeah, and my point wasn't that Tony Baselli shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. My point was that the person's point was that, hey, if he didn't get in this year, he may never get in. Like, well, why wouldn't he never get in if he's a Hall of Famer?
If you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer.
You're going to get in, right? I don't understand. That didn't make any sense to me, but anyway.
Doesn't make any sense to me either.